For tonight we shall delve into shadows cast long ago, not by the moon, but by a dread more profound, more ancient, a maleficence that clings to brick and mortar, permeating the very air of an old New England street, twisting life into slow, agonizing decay. Prepare yourselves, for we shall explore one of H.P. Lovecraft's most unsettling early works, a tale that blends the conventional spectral haunting with the chilling, proto-scientific dread that would come to define his cosmic horrors. The Shunned House. Imagine, if you dare, a structure in the venerable city of Providence, Rhode Island, standing as a testament not to enduring grace, but to enduring evil, a place where sanity itself is but a fleeting guest, and death a lingering vampiric embrace. It is a story that begins with whispered legends and local superstitions, yet swiftly spirals into a meticulous, almost scientific investigation of the truly unholy, forcing us to confront the terrifying possibility that some entities are not merely spirits, but biological abominations, lingering protoplasmic masses with an insatiable hunger for the life force of the living. This isn't just a ghost story. It is an autopsy of a haunting, an attempt to rationalize the irrational, and in doing so, to make it infinitely more dreadful. So settle in, if you can, let the electric glow of your screen momentarily banish the encroaching darkness, and prepare to have your preconceptions of spectral horror utterly dissolved, for what we are about to uncover is far more sinister than any mere phantom. Lovecraft, that reclusive titan of cosmic dread, possessed a unique genius for taking the familiar tropes of horror and twisting them into forms unrecognizably terrifying, stripping away the comforting theatricality of the Gothic to reveal an abyss of indifferent alien horror. In The Shunned House, penned in 1924, we witness this alchemy in its nascent yet potent stages. The story unfolds through the eyes of an unnamed narrator, a man of refined sensibilities and scholarly inclinations, who, like Lovecraft himself, holds a deep reverence for the antiquities and somber history of his native Providence. He is accompanied, or rather guided, by his revered uncle, Dr. Elihu Whipple, a scholar and physician whose intellect is as formidable as his passion for the arcane and the historically morbid. Together they are drawn, almost compulsively, to a particular dwelling on Benefit Street, a thoroughfare already rich with architectural antiquity and shadowed legends. This house, however, stands apart, not merely by its age, but by an almost palpable aura of repulsion, a subtle yet pervasive ugliness that seems to defy its otherwise respectable Georgian lines. Its clapboards appealing, its shutters askew, its windows gazing like vacant, sightless eyes upon the bustling life that skirts its periphery, never daring to truly approach its threshold. From the outset, the reader is made acutely aware that this is not merely an abandoned house. It is an accursed one, a locus of persistent, malignant influence. The initial descriptions are crucial, painting a picture of atmospheric decay and historical foreboding. The house is old, dating back to 1763, an era when Providence was still shedding its puritanical skin, but retaining a deep-seated fear of the unknown, of evils lurking just beyond the edge of their lamps. It is positioned on a slight incline overlooking the city, a sentinel of silent, brooding menace. For over a century and a half, it has been a crucible of human suffering, a silent, devouring maw that has claimed the lives and often the sanity of all who dared to reside within its walls. The narrator and Dr. Whipple, steeped in the local lore, begin their investigation not with Ouija boards or spiritualist seances, but with meticulous, almost forensic research. They pore over dusty archives, decipher ancient ledgers, and interview the oldest living residents, those whose memories still echo with the whispered tragedies associated with the infamous address. What they uncover is a horrifyingly consistent pattern, a procession of occupants, each, in turn, falling prey to a peculiar wasting illness, a gradual decline marked by extreme anemia, mental lethargy, and an inexplicable chill that no amount of fire could dispel. The victims would grow pale, their minds would cloud, and their bodies would slowly, inexorably shrivel and die, often accompanied by a profound sense of nameless dread that permeated their final days. The most chilling detail emerging from these accounts is the common symptom of a persistent localized coldness, particularly in the cellar, a cold that seemed to emanate from some unseen source, defying the laws of thermodynamics, a cold that bespoke not of absence, but of an unnatural, insidious presence. The true genesis of the house's curse, as the Whipples painstakingly pieced together, traces back to its original occupants, a family named Roulet, Huguenot refugees fleeing persecution in France. It was one Etienne Roulet, a man of peculiar habits and rumoured dabblings in forbidden arts, who first succumbed to the house's peculiar malady in 1782, a death so disturbing that it cast the first long shadow over the property. Following his demise, the misfortunes began to proliferate, a contagious malevolence passing from one owner to the next. The successive families, the Tillinghursts, the Hutchinsons, the Dexters, all met similar grim fates. There were stories of children seeing strange lights in the cellar, of odd, noxious effluvia rising from the lower levels, and of a general miasma of decay that clung to the property even when diligently cleaned. Dr. Elihu Whipple, ever the rationalist yet deeply fascinated by the preternatural, refused to dismiss these phenomena as mere superstition. His scientific mind sought patterns, correlations and explanations, even for the seemingly inexplicable. He theorized, with increasing conviction, that the source of the house's evil was not a traditional disembodied spirit, but something far more tangible, yet utterly alien to human understanding. It was a physical entity, he posited, an organism of sorts, a form of protoplasmic life that defied conventional biology, feeding on the vital essence of those unfortunate enough to inhabit its sphere of influence. This was not a ghost in the conventional sense, but a predator, an ethereal, vampiric beast that drained life, leaving behind only the desiccated husks of its victims. The uncle's obsession deepens, becoming the driving force of the narrative. He spends countless hours poring over medical texts, occult tomes, and anthropological studies, trying to find precedents for such a bizarre phenomenon. He consults ancient lore of vampirism, not the romanticized blood drinkers of popular fiction, but the older, more terrifying legends of revenants, of the unquiet dead, of bodies that refuse to fully decompose, persisting as a malignant presence. He arrives at a terrifying synthesis. The entity is a mutation, a transformation of the original Etienne Roulet, whose body, instead of decaying into dust, had undergone a grotesque metamorphosis into a form of semi-solid, gaseous protoplasm, still retaining a vestigial consciousness, a primeval hunger, and a deep-seated malevolence. This entity, according to Dr. Whipple, could shift between a gaseous state, making it undetectable, and a more viscous form, capable of exerting physical influence, albeit a subtle one, slowly enveloping and draining its victims. The cold spots, the strange lights, the pervasive sense of dread all fit into his horrifyingly coherent hypothesis. The core of this monstrous existence, he surmised, was rooted deep within the cellar, specifically within a section of the foundations, likely where Etienne Roulet's remains had been interred or where some ancient unhallowed ritual had been performed. This was no mere haunting. It was a biological horror, a living, albeit alien entity that had taken root within the very fabric of the house. The narrator, initially skeptical or perhaps merely attempting to maintain a rational distance, is gradually drawn into his uncle's fervent conviction. The sheer weight of Dr. Whipple's research, his meticulous documentation, and the terrifying consistency of the historical accounts begin to erode the narrator's resistance. The idea of scientific ghost hunting truly takes shape here, an audacious fusion of rational inquiry and a direct confrontation with the supernatural. They decide, with a blend of intellectual daring and sheer madness, that they must confront and destroy this entity. Their plan is audacious, chilling in its cold, calculated determination. They determine that the entity, being of a protoplasmic nature, would be susceptible to powerful corrosive agents. The weapon of choice, concentrated sulfuric acid or vitriol, to be applied directly to the entity's core. But first they must locate this core, identify its precise dwelling place, and construct a containment for its eventual destruction. They procure a massive quantity of acid, a powerful spray pump for its application, and heavy digging equipment. The climax of the story is an exercise in escalating dread, a slow, meticulous descent into the heart of the house's darkness. The chosen night arrives, a night steeped in the oppressive silence of a sleeping city. The narrator and his uncle, armed with their instruments of destruction and illumination, descend into the shunned cellar. The air grows heavy, thick with a palpable malevolence. The cold, that unnatural pervasive cold, intensifies, clinging to their skin, seeping into their bones. They begin their arduous task of digging into the earthen floor, guided by Dr. Whipple's precise calculations and an almost instinctual sense of where the entity's core might lie. The work is physically taxing, but the psychological toll is far greater. Each shovel full of earth feels like an excavation into their own sanity, each strained breath a gasp against an encroaching, invisible terror. As they dig deeper, the atmosphere becomes increasingly charged. A faint, sickeningly sweet stench begins to permeate the air, a scent described as musty, fungoid and charnel, yet subtly different, possessing an unidentifiable alien quality that hinted at something truly outside the natural order. Then, as they breach a deeper layer of earth, they discover the vault, a subterranean space beneath the original foundations, constructed of ancient brickwork. It is here, within this unhallowed crypt, that they sense the entity's most potent presence. The narrative shifts from historical recounting to immediate, terrifying experience. As they complete their excavation, a profound stillness descends, broken only by the rhythmic thumping of their own terrified hearts. Then it begins. From the depths of the newly opened vault, a faint phosphorescent glow emerges, an ethereal luminosity that pulses with a sickly yellow-green light. It is not a flame, nor a gas lamp, but something organic, internal, a manifestation of the entity itself. The glow intensifies, revealing a faint, nebulous mist rising from the depths, swirling and coalescing with a slow, deliberate malevolence. The air grows even colder, and the nauseating odour becomes almost unbearable, a sickening symphony of decay and alien life. The formless mist begins to take on a crude, viscous consistency, a gaseous protoplasmic mass that slowly, horribly attempts to mimic a human shape. It is a blasphemous parody, a grotesque caricature of its former self, Etienne Roulet, but twisted and elongated, its features barely discernible, yet profoundly disturbing. The narrator describes it as a half-liquid, half-gaseous monster, a thing of primal ooze, its rudimentary limbs writhing, its head attempting to form into a skull-like visage, complete with phosphorescent burning eyes. This is not a spirit, it is a physical horror, an abomination of biological persistence. The most terrifying aspect of its manifestation is its attempt at communication, or rather its display of vestigial instinct. As it solidifies further, two phosphorescent rudimentary fangs emerge from its protoplasmic mouth, dripping with some unholy ichor. A chilling, sucking sound emanates from the developing horror, a sound that speaks of insatiable hunger, of centuries of vampiric feeding on the lifeblood of the innocent. It is a sound that drills into the very core of their being, signaling its monstrous intent, its ancient, unholy appetite. Dr. Whipple, despite his terror, remains resolute, his scientific determination overriding his primal fear. He aims the nozzle of the powerful spray pump, charged with the potent sulfuric acid, directly at the burgeoning horror. With a grim, trembling hand, he activates the pump, unleashing a torrent of corrosive vitriol upon the protoplasmic mass. The effect is instantaneous and horrific. The entity reacts with a shriek, a sound so utterly inhuman, so laden with ancient pain and frustrated malice that it scars the narrator's mind forever. It is a sound that seems to tear at the very fabric of reality, a composite of countless dying breaths and frustrated malevolence. The protoplasmic mass writhes violently, convulsing in grotesque agony as the acid begins its work, dissolving its unholy structure. The phosphorescent glow intensifies, then flickers, dying down as the entity struggles against its chemical annihilation. The sickening stench multiplies, becoming almost unbearable, forcing the narrator to gag. The monstrous form collapses in upon itself, melting and dissolving into a seething, noxious puddle, its vile essence dissipating into the earth from which it had sprung. The struggle is protracted, agonizingly slow for the onlookers, but finally, mercifully, the shriek subsides, the convulsions cease, and the monstrous, vampiric entity that had plagued the house for generations is utterly destroyed, reduced to an inert, putrid slime. The silence that follows is profound, a vacuum where malevolence once reigned. The lingering cold begins to recede, replaced by the damp, natural chill of the cellar. The narrator and his uncle stand amidst the wreckage of their harrowing battle, physically exhausted and psychologically shattered, but ultimately victorious. They have, through a blend of scientific ingenuity and sheer courage, purged the house of its ancient vampiric curse. The aftermath, though outwardly one of triumph, leaves an indelible scar on both men. Dr. Whipple, the scientific pioneer who dared to confront the unknowable, emerges deeply shaken, his intellect having grappled with a reality far more terrifying than any theory could convey. His hair, once merely greying, seems to have whitened further, and a haunted look settles in his eyes, a testament to the horrors he has witnessed and dispatched. The narrator, too, is irrevocably changed. The experience has shattered his rational worldview, leaving him with an unsettling awareness of the grotesque possibilities lurking just beyond the veil of human perception. The house, though cleansed, stands as a perpetual monument to the thin veneer of safety that human civilization maintains against the ancient alien forces that occasionally breach its defenses. The cellar, now a burial ground for an unholy abomination, becomes a place they never speak of again, a silent testament to their chilling triumph. The story concludes with a profound sense of lingering dread, not for the entity itself, which is gone, but for the implications of its existence. What other unspeakable horrors, what other protoplasmic abominations might lie dormant beneath the ancient stones of the world, waiting for their chance to feed, to corrupt, to devour? Lovecraft leaves us not with a sense of closure, but with a widening abyss of cosmic uncertainty. Having meticulously navigated the labyrinthine corridors of the Shunned House, we can now step back and examine its profound thematic implications, especially within the broader tapestry of Lovecraft's unique vision. At its heart, the story is a masterclass in elevating the traditional haunted house narrative into something far more disturbing and original. Most haunted houses are plagued by disembodied spirits, ephemeral beings that can rattle chains or whisper in the dark, but rarely inflict physical harm beyond fright. Lovecraft, however, presents us with a physical, biological entity, a vampiric entity of viscous, gaseous, and semi-solidifying protoplasm. This is not a ghost. It is a monster, a grotesque organism that preys on life force. This scientific, almost clinical approach to the supernatural is a hallmark of Lovecraft's style. He often sought to ground his horrors in a pseudo-scientific framework, making them more plausible and therefore more terrifying. The concept of the entity being a mutated, persistent form of Etienne Roulet, perhaps influenced by some ancient pagan horror he brought from France or stumbled upon in the soil of the New World, adds a layer of hereditary curse and physical transformation that is deeply unsettling. It speaks to the idea that some evils are not merely spiritual, but ingrained, an indelible part of the very matter of existence. The theme of scientific ghost hunting is perhaps the most distinctive element of The Shunned House. Dr. Elihu Whipple embodies Lovecraft's fascination with the blurred lines between science and the supernatural. Lovecraft himself was a keen amateur scientist, especially interested in astronomy and chemistry. He understood that the pursuit of knowledge, when pushed to its extremes, could reveal truths more horrifying than any superstition. Dr. Whipple's methodical research, his hypothesis about protoplasmic life, and his ultimate solution involving concentrated acid, all represent a rational mind attempting to grapple with the irrational. This creates a fascinating tension. The more scientifically they investigate, the more concrete and horrifying the entity becomes. It's not a nebulous fear. It's a tangible, albeit alien, biological threat. This scientific framing strips away the romanticism often associated with ghosts, replacing it with the cold, biological dread. The horror comes not from the unknown, but from the horrifying known, the knowledge that such an entity can exist, persist, and feed. It suggests that even our most rigorous scientific endeavors can, inadvertently, lead us to confront truths that shatter our understanding of life itself. The success of their hunt is a Pyrrhic victory, for it proves the existence of something that should not be, something that fundamentally undermines human mastery over the natural world. Furthermore, the Shunned House delves into Lovecraft's recurring motif of ancient evils, of horrors that lie dormant, waiting for the opportune moment to awaken and corrupt. The house itself is not merely a setting. It is a character, a vessel for an insidious, pervasive malice that has accumulated over centuries. The weight of history, the lingering memories of past suffering, and the idea of a malevolent essence absorbing and radiating its influence into the very fabric of the building are all classic Lovecraftian elements. Providence, with its colonial history and ancient architecture, provides the perfect backdrop for such a tale, emphasizing the vulnerability of human settlements to the deeply rooted, primordial forces that predate them. The Tillinghast family, suffering generations of decline and peculiar illnesses, also touches upon Lovecraft's fear of hereditary taint, of ancestral curses that cling to bloodlines and places. This dread of inherited decay, both physical and moral, is a thread woven through many of his stories, reflecting his own anxieties about lineage and the past. The entity itself, with its description as a gaseous protoplasmic mass, capable of phosphorescent glow and vampiric drainage, foreshadows Lovecraft's later, more abstract cosmic entities. It's not a neatly defined monster. It's amorphous, alien, and defies easy categorization. This early exploration of non-Euclidean, non-standard biology sets the stage for the Elder Things, the My-Go, and the Shoggoths, beings whose very existence challenges the foundations of human physics and biology. The horror isn't just that it kills, but that it is in a way that should not be possible. It is a grotesque manifestation of life itself, twisted and perverted into something utterly inimical to human flourishing. The lingering scent of noxious effluvia and the chilling, sucking sound are sensory details that amplify the horror, appealing to primal fears beyond mere sight. These are not merely descriptive elements, they are invitations to a deeper, more visceral dread. The Shunned House also offers a glimpse into Lovecraft's developing literary style and his evolving philosophy of cosmicism. While it retains some elements of traditional Gothic horror, the old house, the hereditary curse, the tangible monster, it begins to push beyond these confines. The emphasis on the unknown, the idea that humanity is but a tiny, fragile speck in a universe teeming with incomprehensible forces, is clearly present. The narrator and his uncle confront a local evil, but the very nature of that evil implies a universe far stranger and more terrifying than they, or we, could ever fully grasp. The successful destruction of the entity, while a relief, does not bring comfort. Instead, it expands their and our understanding of what is possible, leaving behind a chilling awareness of other potential horrors. The victory is not over the universe, but merely over one small, localized manifestation of its indifferent alien nature. It's a victory that clarifies the extent of human ignorance, rather than diminishing it. Compared to his later, more fully realized cosmic horror tales, like The Color Out of Space or At the Mountains of Madness, the Shunned House can be seen as a bridge. It moves beyond the spectral psychological horror of earlier works like The Outsider and introduces the physical, biological grotesqueness that would become a hallmark of his unique genre. It's more grounded, more immediately confrontational, and less overtly cosmic in its scope, Yet it subtly hints at the vast, uncaring universe that lies just beyond the edges of the human intellect. The horror is not derived from supernatural beings with clear motivations, but from an almost scientific dissection of a profound biological anomaly that defies human morality and reason. It's a stepping stone towards the cosmic insignificance that Lovecraft would later perfect, where humanity is revealed to be utterly irrelevant in the face of ancient, alien, and indifferent powers. In conclusion, The Shunned House stands as a crucial, unsettling work in H.P. Lovecraft's bibliography. It's a powerful narrative that skillfully blends the Gothic traditions of the haunted house with a unique, proto-scientific dread, creating a horror that is both visceral and intellectual. It challenges our understanding of what constitutes a ghost, replacing the ethereal with a terrifyingly tangible protoplasmic abomination that preys on life itself. Through the meticulous research and audacious actions of Dr. Elihu Whipple and his narrator, Lovecraft demonstrates how the pursuit of knowledge, when applied to the truly inexplicable, can uncover truths far more chilling than any mere superstition. The story leaves us with a profound sense of unease, a lingering question about the true nature of life, death, and the monstrous forms that can persist in the shadows of our supposedly civilized world. It is a testament to Lovecraft's genius that he could take a familiar trope and infuse it with such a unique brand of horror, pushing the boundaries of what a haunting could be, forcing us to consider the scientific possibility of evils that defy all human understanding. This tale, though perhaps less grand in scale than some of his cosmic epics, is no less potent in its ability to instill a deep, unsettling dread, a reminder that some houses, some places, are not merely old, but truly accursed, harbouring horrors that hunger for centuries, patiently awaiting their next meal. If you, like me, find yourself captivated by the strange, unsettling worlds conjured by H.P. Lovecraft, if the dread of the unknown and the cosmic indifference of the universe send thrilling shivers down your spine, then do not hesitate to like this video to help us spread awareness of these ancient horrors. And of course, subscribe for more Lovecraft videos as we continue our journey into the darkest corners of imagination. Until next time, may your dreams be free of phosphorescent protoplasmic masses, and may the shadows of Benefit Street remain confined to the pages of forgotten lore.